Springtrap is a really cool killer that I am bad at playing. Fortunately, I'm not talking about playing as Springtrap today, I'm talking about playing against him. You probably already know that Springtrap has doors that make up the map mobility and stealth functions of his power. You probably don't know that these doors can also be used by survivors and have a functioning camera surveillance system that can track Springtrap using aura reveals. Why wouldn't you as a survivor know that the giant killer prop with stark white aura is interactable and has a camera system? Because the cameras suck shit and you have no reason to use them. But why is that? Let me first preface that the mobility aspect of the security doors is pretty cool and I have no complaints about it. A somewhat lengthy warp from one section of the map to another, with sufficient risk to be grabbed instantly if you're unlucky enough to be using them while Springtrap is too. Not to mention, Springtrap itself can hit a door with his axe to stop it from being usable for traversal. Very useful to do this on the closest door after hooking a survivor, since you can expect someone to try and use it to get in position for a rescue. Pretty good stuff. No, what the problem is how the cameras are designed. They function well for what they were designed to do, but the thing they were designed to do is bad. Let me break it down for you. By interacting with a security door as a survivor, you're given access to camera feeds that survey the area around each security door, including the one that you're using for access. You can only view one of these cameras at a time, but have free range of motion to point that camera in any direction you like. The camera can be switched between on a cycle, or by pointing the camera's field of vision toward another door and pressing the item button. A display of 7 boxes, each corresponding to a door/camera, will be seen in the bottom right corner of your screen, but this is mostly useless and doesn't do anything to tell you where each camera is on the map like how it would in an actual Five Nights at Freddy's game. Well, this isn't off to a very good start so far, but surely the cameras have some other kind of function outside of being able to see the rest of the map, right? Well, we're in luck. See, if you're using a camera and Springtrap is within line of sight, the camera will begin to highlight him with static, and after a few seconds, the static will turn to a full aura that is revealed to every survivor map-wide. These aura last 10 odd seconds, cannot be nullified by undetectable, such as the one part of his killer power, and can be chained into a continuous reveal if the camera's line of sight is kept on him. In fact, direct line of sight isn't even necessary, because the static highlight can track Springtrap through walls. As a countermeasure, each camera can only reveal Springtrap if he's within a certain range of its door. Wow, a free aura read anywhere on the map that can completely bypass the killer's stealth power at the cost of a little time to play whereas Waldo? Well, I'd be stupid not to take that up. Let me hop onto this door right now. Looking at these cameras, not this one, around here. Where is he? Oh, right. So, the funny thing about the cameras, their fancy little reveal can't come into play if Springtrap isn't within line of sight of any of them. And if Springtrap is warping between security doors, he isn't anywhere on the map to be detected by a camera. And if Springtrap isn't in a chase, he's almost always warping between doors. And if you happen to be trying to find Springtrap on the cameras while he's warping doors, you are putting yourself at risk of him taking a free health rate off of you with absolutely no room for reward, which is, you know, an entire half of a risk-reward dynamic. Alright, you say to yourself, that just means I've gotta wait until I can see that one of my teammates is being chased, which is shown on the HUD. Then I can hop on the camera to not only show my teammate's location, but also give my chased teammate wall hacks, so they can loop him for 5 gens. Oh, here we go, time to put this to the test. Let me go on this door, take a look around for him, and... oh. He got the down. Okay, he was over by this camera. Now I reveal him, and now my team can see that he's picking her up and hooking her. Well, we'll never figure that out on our own. Okay, that one was just a fluke. If I'm just a little better at scouting out where the chase is taking place, I can get the reveal. I even equipped Bond so that I can know whether the check camera was closer or further from me. Here we go. I found her being chased around the shady little short wall where the camera does nothing because more than half of Springtrap's body can be seen over the obstacles. Well, at least I got the reveal, so my team knows where he is, and she's down, so they'd have known anyways. Great. Now he's coming to the door. Ah, crap. Time to get off. Since the camera can't see the door, then he might have teleported directly to me. Alright, so it's clear that the reveal won't always do much in chase, but maybe. Maybe I'll be lucky to catch his aura while he's being looped at a place with high walls, like a shack or a tile where the wall hack will prove invaluable for the guy being chased. Now, we're in the game, I'll work on this gen, and oh, there we go, someone being chased. Let me look through this camera, and perfect! I chased a pallet gym. Now, as soon as the reveal goes off, that survivor will be unstoppable! I could be doing gens. The problem should be apparent at this point. The cameras do nothing for the sake of letting your team know Springtrap pathing, since the door traversal nullified this. Their only feasible use is helping a teammate and chase, and that's if you can find them fast enough and they're at a location where there are high enough obstacles that even Springtrap's big ass ears won't poke over. Any second you spend trying to make use of them is a second you could have spent doing something much more helpful to your team: repairing generators. And you know what's funny? In this new and mid-chapter PTB, it would claim that Springtrap would be getting changes that would make him stronger, but could make camera usage much more worth it. Only half of that was true. Springtrap did get some handy buffs, but the only thing that happened with the camera was that using them consumed less power. The power usage is far from the problem, as I just spent about 5 good minutes of my life explaining. So, taking every actual problem in mind, what can we do to the mechanics behind Springtrap that can turn the camera into meaningful gameplay mechanics? I'll start off with this. If we want the camera to feel more authentic to the Five Nights at Freddy's experience, their primary use should be tracking Springtrap's movement when he's outside of chase. It's for this reason that, if it were in my hands, what I'd do is significantly rework how his stealth and mobility works. Here's how. Fazbear's Fright now charges passively over 12 seconds. When Fazbear's Fright is off cooldown, the animatronic will be undetectable, all security doors will be revealed to him in an aura, he can enter security door, then use them for teleportation to other security doors, and he will be given a 24-meter lullaby. This lullaby can only be heard by survivors that are simultaneously within its radius and are interacting with a security door's control panel. Fazbear's Fright will go on cooldown at the very start of the trial, after the animatronic traverses between security doors, or after being revealed by a security camera. Being revealed by a security camera will also pause the cooldown of Fazbear's Fright for as long as the animatronic aura is being revealed. When Fazbear's Fright is on cooldown, the animatronic will no longer be undetectable and cannot traverse security doors. You see the vision, right? By making Springtrap's stealth come passively, as opposed to gaining it whenever he uses his mobility, and putting that mobility on a brief cooldown, the most opportune moment to reveal him, which is to say when he's patrolling the map instead of using doors, will pop up much more naturally. On top of that, I really like the idea of his terror radius suddenly popping back up when he emerges from a door. Almost feels more like a proper jump scare. It's worth noting that, in this hypothetical, his fire axe would remain unchanged fundamentally. He'll still be able to use it whether Fazbear's Fright is active or on cooldown. However, the changes would still warrant a few tweaks to all aspects of the power, and even its add-ons. For this video, I'll just be firing off the numbers with brief explanations as to each. I'll also put a link to a document in this video description that will highlight every single one of these proposed changes. Finally, bear in mind that all of these are being said under the pretense that all of this PTB's changes are going to live. This mostly just comes down to buffs to his axe's cooldowns. Fazbear's Fright must be off cooldown to traverse security doors. When off cooldown, Springtrap is passively undetectable, and his fire axe can be recalled more quickly after it is thrown. Fazbear's Fright is put on cooldown at the start of a trial, after teleporting with the security doors, and after being revealed by a security camera. Cooldown is 12 seconds. Cooldown is paused when revealed by a security camera. This is everything I just went over in the fundamental crux of the pseudo rework. Doors. Decrease the amount of time it takes Springtrap to traverse security doors to 2.7 seconds, down from a flat 3 seconds. Not a terrific change, but considering the opportunity to use the door can be nullified, making it a more useful utility than other ways is important, especially since they also stop you from going undetectable. Springtrap gains 5% haste for 8 seconds after traversing security doors, again giving the door extra utility. Not to mention, Springtrap is more often than not going to be a 110, 4.4 meter per second killer after running through a door, so 5% haste just puts him back up to 115 for the brief moment it's active. Increase the amount of power that is consumed when a survivor traverses security doors to 45%, up from 15%. Since survivors will now have the power to prevent Springtrap use of the doors, they will know when they have an opportunity to get a free teleport with no risk of being caught and grabbed, so it's imperative that doing so limits their own resources much more severely. Axe. Increase the size of the full Killer Instinct AoE to 2.5 meters, up from a flat 2 meters. I always like the idea of the axe being an unorthodox information tool, but the area of effect is just not quite there to make it a viable one. An extra half a meter definitely isn't much either, but the information aspect should still be secondary to the chase utility. Increase the duration of Killer Instinct when a survivor enters the AoE to 4 seconds. Another buff to an unorthodox information tool. Also, I'm not sure whether the current value is 2 seconds or 3, the wiki doesn't say. Increase how long it takes a survivor to dislodge the fire axe from themselves to 10 seconds, from 8. Decrease how long it takes a survivor to dislodge the fire axe from another survivor to 3.75 seconds, from 5 seconds. While a survivor is removing the fire axe from themselves, they suffer a 3% hinder. When a survivor removes the fire axe from themselves, the oblivious status effect now lingers for 5 seconds. Something that never really sat right with me was that Springtrap's jump scare was tied to a mechanic that you'd almost always pull off in the middle of a chase, since a survivor probably isn't going to have an axe lodged in their back when the chase ends for one reason or another. Like, come on, what's the point of making the axe inflict oblivious at that point? I think the best course of action is to make it dangerous for survivors to attempt removing the axe from themselves mid-chase by making it take extra time, slowing them slightly while the attempt is being made, retaining a moment of uncertainty after the fact, and making all that able to be bypassed by having a teammate remove the axe, which will now be a bit faster. Prior to this, I bet you didn't even know the survivors were able to remove the axe off of their teammate's back since it barely saved you any time and never reasonably came up in an actual game. When Fazbear's Fright is off cooldown, reduce the recall cooldown of the fire axe to 5.6 seconds, down from its usual flat 6 seconds. Increase the time before Springtrap can recall that fire axe after using it to disable a security door to 9 seconds, from 6. Since cameras would be a much bigger threat to Springtrap, using his axe to disable them will be a much more important aspect of a kit, so to make it so that disabling a door is less of an autopilot decision, it'll make your axe take longer to recall. With all that said, I do realize this seemed like an awful lot of tweaks for the fire axe of all things, when the primary focus of the changes is supposed to be the doors. However, I'd argue that making Springtrap stronger in chase incentivized the idea of scouting him out on the camera even more, because giving your team a chance to get a head start before chase initiates on them will help a lot more if Springtrap is a much more lethal chaser. That does it for the base kit. Since this would change so much of Springtrap's power, a lot of his add-on would need complete changes, or at least tweaks. Let's look at how I'd handle it. Greasy Paper Plate. This gets indirectly buffed thanks to the extra seconds thrown onto the base kit self-removal time of the axe. On top of that, a lengthier self-remove would also mean a lengthier hinder, so it gets to stay the same way it is now. Help Wanted Add. If I had it my way, all of these crosshair-esque effects would be toggleable settings instead of killer add-ons. In a perfect world where that's the case, I'd give this add-on a completely new effect. Increase the duration of Oblivious when a survivor removes the axe from themselves by 5 seconds. This would make the total lingering Oblivious be 10 seconds. Restaurant menu. No change, especially considering his recall was buffed both in this concept and the official PDB. Rotten Pizza. Double the duration of Killer Instinct, unchanged, and increase the size of the fire axe's AoE by 0.5 meters, new effect. This add-on's current effect also gets indirectly buffed thanks to this concept's base kit Killer Instinct increase, but it's still just not a terrifically useful effect to extend even if by double. That's why I threw in an additional effect of increasing the AoE, so that triggering the original effect is more likely. Office Phone. Decreases how long you are revealed by security cameras by 1 second. Let's be honest, even if this massive overhaul never happens, Office Phone should be completely reworked regardless. Party Hat. Indirectly buffed once again by the base kit AoE change, so doesn't need anything more. So curious, running this add-on with the buff would increase the AoE size to 6.25 meters, up from its current version range of 5 meters flat. Ripped Curtain. Survivors hit by the fire axe suffer hemorrhage and mangled for 70 seconds, up from 60. This is the buff to the add-on that I just feel like it would need even in Springtrap's current state. Security Guard's Badge. Decreases the cooldown of Fazbear's Fright by 2 seconds. Since the undetectable effect is no longer gained from traversing security doors, this add-on's current effect of increasing its duration would be invalid with this rework. Thus, we'll turn it into the new cooldown add-on for his passive power, which is, in a way, still staying true to its original design of giving him extra undetectable. Streamers. Once again, another add-on that will remain unchanged because of the indirect buff it receives through a base kit tweak. A 15% faster door traversal speed in this version would be 2.295 seconds, down from 2.55 seconds. Bonnie's Guitar Strings. While in a security door, the repair progress of generators can be determined by the intensity of their auras, unchanged. Increase the cooldown of Fazbear's Fright by 50%, new effect. Just like the badge, this add-on has an effect that's tied to the door teleport undetectable, which isn't a thing with this rework. Instead, this add-on's nerf will come in the form of an appropriate cooldown extension to your ability to traverse doors and go undetectable, since you'll know exactly which gen to warp to in an instant. Chica's Bib. Survivors in the Axe's AoE are exhausted and for 8 lingering seconds. This add-on's current lingering exhaustion is only 5 seconds, which I don't think is that great. Foxy's Hook. No changes necessary. Freddy's Hat. Doubled the weight of the fire axe, unchanged. Decreases the fire axe's cooldown by 20%, new effect. This add-on always seemed like too much of a nerf for the niche of very wacky orbitals, so I think giving it a second effect that turned the axe into a shorter range but more spammable projectile opened up a new playstyle for the character. Purple Guy Drawing. When a survivor with the axe lodged into them performs a rushed action, their aura is revealed for 4 seconds. When they finish removing the axe, their aura is revealed for 7 seconds. Nothing but a small, useful numbers buff to this add-on's auras. I'll skip over the very rare add-ons because I don't believe any of them need changes, even with this revamped kit. Iridescent Remnant. When Fazbear's Fright goes off cooldown, all upright pallets within 32 meters are blocked for 12 seconds. Same effect as the live version, but instead of applying on the door teleport, it applies upon getting your passive power back, which is a much more opportune moment. This is a change that I think would make it well worth its rarity as a visceral. Finally, Fazcoin. When you are reviewed by a security camera, the security system immediately enters its reboot. The cooldown of Fazbear's Fright will also be increased by 50%. I know a lot of people like this current effect, but it simply won't work with this rework. It'll either be useless since you have a passive undetectable effect now, or unfair since if you're using it to lose your terror radius after being revealed by a camera, you're just undoing the effort made to counterplay your power at the click of an M2. Thus, an entire rework to Fazcoin that makes it impossible for survivors to use chain reveals or use a teleport when they know it's safe. Now, am I a game developer? Heck, do I even have enough hours of Springtrap to call myself mildly competent with them? No. But I am someone who played this game and loves it to death. Feel free to disagree with me, and tell me what part of these concepts you feel wouldn't quite work. Do you think that making the cameras worthwhile is a fruitless endeavor? Do you think this is too many buffs to give it chase power? Do you think I suck at add-on passes? Let me know. Share your thoughts in the comments so we can argue about it. Thanks for watching, this has been Star Raider. Dead by Daylight.